we stole a segment from Colin, to be honest with you. It's Colin's Super Bowl bubble that he did today. In the middle there are, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Make sure the
I posted a video of that, by the way.
Colin Cowherd?
Yeah, Colin Cowherd.
Why? Who do you?
I just want to make sure the audience knows.
You don't know who Colin Cowherd is. He's world famous. So those are the bubble in the middle, and then.
Why does Colin have the Niners dead center middle and not the two-time defending champs?
Doesn't go
no, but I do think middle means something.
Do you?
Like a bullseye.
It's kind of like left or right on
nucleus.
pyramid.
Yeah, Nick's nucleus. We should have stole it. We should have.
Oh, sorry. In any event, that's Colin's bubble, so we stole it.
Yeah.
And we're going to do our own Aaron Rodgers Ask 8 to 12 teams. We're going to start with Greg Jennings. Greg, let's see Greg's Super Bowl bubble with your 8 teams, and then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get a little spicy.
Again, middle.
I don't think that's the graphic.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
All right, go ahead.
it's just
That's
the
fine.
graphic team. But yeah, you see my teams. I got the Lions, Jets. Yes, I have the Jets. I'm buying into the hype. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Bengals, the Green Bay Packers, who I absolutely love. Obviously, the Texans, who I love. Got the 49ers. We'll breeze right over the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And then my outer, got the Baltimore Ravens, got the Dallas Cowboys, and these two on the left. I'm telling you, I'm pretty high on the Bears. If Caleb Williams can be a guy,
Drunk?
I'm drunk.
the Bears can be a scary team and have a shot.
That's correct. That's
And
a good
the
take.
Browns-
Explain the Browns.
The Browns, Deshaun Watson's starting to get a little hot.
No, he's not.
He started to get a little hot, then he got injured. They were looking good. If he
So
can,
you-
if
I'm
he can
just trying to-
rekindle a little bit of that and build on it.
So you don't have any AFC. Oh, you have the Jets.
I have the
but no
Jets.
Bills or Dolphins.
No Bills, no Dolphins.
I'm trying to see
Do you
if
think
there's.
that Caleb Williams can win the Super Bowl as a rookie?
With the team that they have around him right now,
Wow.
the defense, I love their defense. Offensively, they got a ton of weapons. If he can strike, it's kind of like that C.J. Stroud last year model. We'll see.
But I don't think the Texans could have won the Super Bowl.
They're my fringe. They're on.
I know, but even for fringe, they're on my fringe. Even as suppose Caleb was great, it's hard for me to believe that when you go up against a seasoned defensive coordinator with 2 weeks to prepare just the Super Bowl, and you would have had 19 games to watch a rookie, that you can't expose some flaws in a rookie QB.
But literally 2 years ago, you thought it was. I'm not saying you were picking it. You thought it was possible a rookie quarterback was going to win the Super Bowl and Brock Purdy. Because the team was like they were in the going into that weekend's NFC title game. You weren't like the Niners are eliminated.
Completely ruined your
but
whole
no, by the way, and to be fair, I don't even think Wilds picked the Niners in that game. But I'm saying like nobody was saying in that moment the Niners are out because they have a rookie quarterback. Nobody and by the in
what was their big weakness?
the Niners.
Yeah.
I think quarterback.
Yeah, okay. Here we go.
Well, but that's not why they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Back.
I mean, no, that. What happened to them? I mean, they would have lost to the Chiefs anyway. But in that game, he got hurt. But I also
Rookie shoulder.
The Chiefs could have easily won the Super Bowl the first year Mahomes started. Like, would you feel the Bears?
Yeah, but I'm talking about true rookie.
Right, but you really think there's but your analysis of like 19 weeks of film, all that, you think there's a big difference? Like, so if Caleb sat all year, never played,
could he win next
and then
year?
next year you'd be okay with this?
Yeah, I'd feel a little bit better.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, brand new. Walking
No,
into
it's- I mean,
I think
it's
it's
never
insulting to
happened.
defensive. Yeah, if it's never happened, I mean, it feels like 100% right.
I mean, okay. I mean, Big Ben, his first year got the AFC title.
Yeah, I
game.
don't care about that. Yeah, close.
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, well, they're on the bubble. I'm defending Greg. I think Greg's right. Now, I think a lot of this other stuff's crazy, but I think Greg's right.
All right, now it's your turn to go.
It's my turn? Okay.
I like
All
the
right.
Browns, by the way. But
All right, so why are the Bengals in the middle of mine?
hey, buddy,
Who is
has
setting
nothing
this
to
up?
do with the middle.
I don't.
your favorite.
I got to tell you, the bullseye, dead center. What are we talking about? All right. So I thought that. So I have the Bears even closer to the middle, and as you're going to see, I have for a lot of these teams, perceived great quarterback bias. So the Bills are going to be in that center in the bubble because they do, for all his flaws, have clearly a top 5 quarterback. The Texans have clearly a top 5 quarterback. I shouldn't say clearly a top 5 quarterback, could have a top 5 quarterback. The Niners have the best 2 through 53 roster in the NFL. The Rams, I think, are way underrated. Now, the loss of Aaron Donald's enormous, obviously, but I love their draft, and I love what they showed last year after the rough start. The Bengals are getting a great quarterback back, and the Chiefs and Lions, it speaks for themselves. And the Bears were a 7-win team last year that once they added Montez Sweat, were a good defense. They then add Rome Odunze, add Keenan Allen. On the outside of the bubble is the Cowboys and the Ravens, out of respect for what they've been over the last few seasons. The Packers for what they were building in the final half of last year. And again, great quarterback bias. Jacksonville Jaguars, I think it's on the board. Trevor has the year that I thought he was going to have last year, and I think he was en route to having before he got hurt. So to me, there is ties go to teams with excellent quarterbacks. And so that for me, the teams that maybe surprise people that I don't have on there are the Jets and the Eagles. And I just don't trust the infrastructure. I don't trust the coaching staff of either of those teams. And I have questions about the quarterback of both of those teams. So that's where I'm at for those.
So your Jags, you're that high on Trevor that Trevor can get it done?
Well, I'm as high on Trevor as like.
Well, the big thing is you're high that you think the Jaguars can somehow get past the Texans, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens. Even if you think Trevor's an amazing quarterback, is that roster supported of that? I don't think so.
I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a great player. I think Trevor Lawrence.
I only ask this because you're basing most of yours around the quarterback.
Yeah.
Mine is not just solely based on the quarterback. It's like the team. So, like, even with the Jets, I'm not at all saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to just be the MVP and he's going to have a fantastic year. What I'm saying is he's going to
love their roster.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love their roster, and he's going to be good enough to help them get over that hump. The Jags?
Yeah, so I know that I am in the minority here. But to me, Trevor's career makes total sense, which is star collegiate player thrown into the fire year one for a train wreck of an organization, has a rough year one that at the end shows flashes. By the end of year two, looks like a no doubt already top 10 quarterback, executes one of the greatest comebacks in postseason history, loses to the champ. Builds on that momentum the very next year, has his team around Thanksgiving playing for the 1 seed at 8-3 on Monday Night Football, suffers a terrible injury, then 2 more terrible injuries, and shockingly, the season fell apart when the guy who'd been carrying them got hurt. That's how I look at Trevor's career. Everyone else looks at it like there was some Freaky Friday situation happening for his whole college career and his second year in the league, and who he was his rookie year, and at the end of last year is who he really is. It's not how I look at it. So yeah, I think that player could be excellent. He has to prove it, but I still believe in him. So yeah, that's why they're on.
Okay. Well, so I actually agree with Nick about Trevor Lawrence. Me and him see eye to eye. I think Trevor Lawrence will be a great and maybe even one day elite quarterback. But I just don't know if the Jags are there just yet. And honestly, I'm still on the fence of who Doug Peterson is. It's tough. I need to see actually Trevor Lawrence be healthy for an extended period of time with Peterson to see what they can do together. I think Peterson is probably closer to a McCarthy type coach rather than to a Shanahan, McVay, Andy Reid type coach. But I don't want to get too lost in the Jags because I just don't know if they realistically have a chance. This Super Bowl bubble, it's going to be confusing because I'm going to go back and forth between Knicks and Collins. Of course, I believe that the Eagles should be in the Super Bowl bubble. I just, the fact that Nick doesn't even think that they're even on the fringe is just insanity to me. Like that, people say someone's a hater or biased, and I really try not to use that language. I really, really do, because I can make a video. I make one video and people say I'm biased, I'm a hater, I'm this, that. And it's like, it's actually really incredibly annoying. I probably shouldn't say that because now you guys are all going to say that to me. Like I made an Eagles video the other day and someone literally said, I can tell you're an Eagles hater. And I'm like, People tell me that I'm obsessed with the Eagles, and then I make a Lions video and they say your team's never gonna win. I'm like, well, now the Lions are my team. Or then I make a Bills video and you're like, you're just a Josh Allen homer, and it is. It's like I really can't keep up. Like who am I rooting for? I don't even know anymore. But it does feel just forced to act like the Cowboys are there or the Jaguars are there, and not the Eagles, who clearly have a top roster in the NFL. That's insanity to me. That really, really is insanity to me. I can't even remotely make sense of it. Outside of obvious bias. But again, he likes the Sixers and supports Sixers. Someone told me, and I don't know how true this is, but that Nick Wright got rejected by Philly media. He was either failed or fired, or not fired, but I don't know what the story is. Someone said that. I asked for a follow-up, and I don't think the guy replied. If you guys know any of that, please let me know. But I don't know, because like I said, he supports like Embiid and the Sixers, so I truly can't make sense of it. But outside of just kind of focusing on the Eagles, I think the Texans are definitely in the bubble. The Lions, I think, are in the bubble. And I really would put the Packers and I don't forget if I already said the Bears, but the Packers and the Bears. I mean, I really think the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears, I know they're all part of the same division, like, they are just going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think if you add the Texans, you should be adding the Packers as well. You really should be. I think they are very comparable, with very comparable timelines, with these young quarterbacks. And the truth is that you kind of have the leg up with Matt LaFleur, because he's truly been there relative to what the Texans have done. Granted, the Texans have a little bit more seasoned veterans sprinkled throughout their team, which can definitely help them for sure. But I just think that if you're going to add in a team like the Texans, I think you definitely have to add in the Packers. And the Lions deserve to be there without a doubt. I think they absolutely were more than capable of winning the Super Bowl last year. I really, really do. I think if the Lions got to the Super Bowl, there was a great chance that they would have beaten the Chiefs. I really, really do. I think it could have been actually like I don't want to say a runaway, but that run game and that offense, like, I think would have really been able to attack the weaknesses of the Kansas City Chiefs. But who knows, obviously, right? Who knows? The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they are the Chiefs because they are the Chiefs. The 49ers, of course, deserve to be there. They still have their core, and as great as they are, the Bengals to me are a question mark. The health, it's just like, it's so hard to bet on the Bengals. It really is. It's just, and I think Joe Burrow is an amazing quarterback, a top quarterback in the NFL, and if he could stay healthy, he would be a top quarterback of all time. He can't stay healthy, and I have no idea what's going to go on with their roster. Jamar Chase seems to be upset. T. Higgins seems to be upset. I don't know how resilient this team is, right? If this team goes 5-5, do they just fall apart? Right, I really have no idea. I just don't know who this team is, so it's just hard to feel any type of confidence. It's interesting that the Ravens have fell off. I know Nick has them out there because he thinks losing the defensive coordinator is a very big deal for them. But I guess it's not a big deal for the Cowboys. And I don't see the Cowboys being in the bubble whatsoever, or on the fringe at all. It's like hard for me to lock down the exact 8 teams that I would, because I think there's just so many comparable teams. Like, I really do put the Packers, the Texans, the Lions, probably the Lions maybe a notch up, but the Lions, the 49ers, the Eagles, I put them all in the same category. It really is, right? Like, is one of those teams going to fumble the ball on the 10-yard line? Like, that is the game right there. Does a safety pull a hamstring and now he's just kind of slightly hobbled? Like, that's the difference. I think the margin of error and the difference between those teams are just inches, right? Does Jared Goff just absolutely catch fire? Is CJ Stroud playing out of his mind? Is Jordan Love having an MVP season? Like, those will be the differences as to why one of them beats each other. So I just put all of those teams together, and I really, really hope we get some awesome matchups, especially come time playoffs, where everyone's healthy, and it's not like where we have to lose a really good team early on because they're kind of playing too soon. Like, I think these matchups have potential to be just some of the best games, honestly, that we've ever seen. Like, seriously, it feels very much like the famous game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Bills. Like, it feels like we could legitimately get like 3 or 4 of those games. It's just, I think those games are just set with some high-powered offenses, innovative offenses with great young up-and-coming quarterbacks, it just has the potential to be historic. And so I'm just not going to pick a team just for the sake of trying to like hedge my bets and be like, I told you back in July they were going to win. I have no desire to do that. I could care less. And the Bears are a big question mark too. If Caleb Williams proves to truly be as transcendent as he's supposed to be and generational as everyone says, then yeah, you would put them in the bubble. I do agree with what Wilds is saying, that you would feel better if he was a second year, even if he didn't play at all. It can't be understated how much that can benefit you, right? You're no longer just even going through the shock and like figuring out what the heck the NFL is. When you get to sit a whole year on the bench, you get to just learn and grow, and things just, the temperature in the room just gets turned down. That alone is just so beneficial that it just can't be understated. So Caleb has a lot harder of a job to do. And to compare it to CJ Stroud and the Texans, I don't think that's fair, because there was effectively like zero expectations on CJ Stroud and the Texans. At least nationally, maybe locally, and Houston Texans fans can speak to this louder. Maybe you all were like, hey, CJ Stroud better ball out from day one, or else he's a bust. Like, I don't know if you guys had that type of pressure on CJ Stroud. Definitely not nationally. Nobody was really talking about that. There were some stories obviously about CJ Stroud and the Texans, but they did not have the same amount of hype and pressure like the Bears have, right? Like, it is so much hype on Caleb and the Bears, and that does matter. It's not to say that I don't think that he can't handle it or that it will immensely influence what he can and can't do, but it's just the expectations are higher. And I think if anything, it changes coaching more than anything. I think with CJ Stroud and the Texans, they were more willing to just kind of be like, hey, this is a sandbox year. Let's just see what the heck we do. Let's just figure this out. Let's figure out who CJ is, what he can and can't do. Let's go. Whatever. You throw a few interceptions, who cares, man? It's week 4 in your rookie year. It's all good. The Bears, it feels like, we got to get this together now. Let's win some games. Let's go. We can actually be in the Super Bowl bubble. Nationally, they're talking about us, Caleb being the first ever rookie to win a Super Bowl, right? Like, those are the things where you're just like, okay. So it's just, that matters. And so if anything, I think it'll change from coaching rather than Caleb himself individually. But of course, the coaching will affect Caleb. But yeah, I mean, it's just, if I had to pick between this bubble and where's the other bubble? I feel like this is a slightly more realistic bubble. If I had to pick one or the other. And I guess I'll comment real fast on the Browns. I think the Browns are there if and only if Deshaun Watson proves to be back to being like a legit top 5-10 quarterback in the NFL. I don't really think we know who Deshaun Watson is. I do think that team is complete. They obviously have a great defense, and I really believe in Stefanski as a head coach. And so to me, it all hangs in the balance of Deshaun Watson. Does he prove, and he doesn't maybe have to recapture his true brilliance, but people were looking at Watson as like a top 5. Like, he was supposed to be Mahomes before Mahomes became Mahomes, right? Like, people were losing their mind over Watson and him being the future of the NFL. Then things kind of obviously went awry with both off the field issues as well as kind of injuries and those types of things. So if he can even just recapture a flavor of that and even just be considered to be like back in that conversation, because right, we now talk about great quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, right? Like, those are the 4 names that people rip off very easily. And now people are starting to add like Jordan Love or CJ Stroud, but those are the 4 most common names that they rip off. Once upon a time, Deshaun Watson was supposed to be a name that you just rip off as like clearly a top quarterback. He is that not right now. At least that's not the perception of him. If he can get back to that status, then the Browns, of course, will be a great. I think, of course, they'll be a great team. I don't see how they could not be under those circumstances, especially considering what they've been able to do without him being that. So, to me, that'll be a question mark, and we have to just kind of wait and see, because I don't know if it is just kind of injury related or mentally or what. I think he wants to ball out. People are saying, oh, well, he got the guaranteed contract, so he doesn't really care. No, these athletes have tremendous amount of pride, and the fact that he's continuing to play and doing what he's doing, to me, shows that he obviously does care, and I think he wants to get back on top desperately. He wants to rewrite the narrative of his NFL story. There's just no doubt in my mind. So I believe he's going to put in the work, and it's just a matter if it actually kind of shows up on the field. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about, I guess we've now done 3 Super Bowl bubbles. What do you guys all think about any of these teams? The Chicago Bears, the Packers, the Jets, the Eagles, the Lions, the 49ers, the Chiefs, whoever. Let me know who you think should be in the bubble, who should not be in the bubble, who should be on the fringes. Let me all know. I read all the comments. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.